in the solitude of night. Besides the 5 prayers during the day and night times, there was another prayer which was obligatory for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is called the night prayer or the Tahajjud prayer. In the 79th verse of Surah Bani Israel, this obligatory nature of the prayer for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned by the words Nafilatan lak. Then in Surah Muzammil, it is further stated that when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked to deliver open warning to his people, he was specially directed to be diligent in this prayer. The Quran says, Ya ayyuhal muzammil qumil layla illa qalila nisfahu aw inqus minhu qalila aw zid alayhi wa rattilil qur'ana tartila inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila inna nashi'atal layli hiya ashaddu wat'an wa aqwamu qila inna laka fin nahari sabhan tawila wazkur isma rabbika wa tabattal ilayhi tabtila. O you enfolded in your shawl, stand in prayer by night, but not all night, half the night or even less, or a little more, and in this prayer of yours recite the Quran in a slow measured tone, because soon we shall lay on you the burden of a heavy word. Indeed, this rising by night is very suitable for the mind's peace and the heart's resolve, and for the speech's correctness. Because during the daytime you will be hard-pressed with this task, so pray at this time and remember the name of your Lord, and in this loneliness of the night, devote yourself entirely to Him. Surah number 73, verses 1 to 8. For common Muslims, this is an optional prayer, and it is a great blessing for them if in following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam they also offer this prayer. It has been narrated that he would at most offer 11 rakat in this prayer and would stand, kneel and prostrate for great lengths of time in it. Indeed, some narratives do mention 13 rakat, but 2 of them are the optional rakat. Since the Tahajjud prayer was obligatory on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prayed 2 optional rakat before them, much like the optional rakat Muslims pray, for example, before the obligatory rakat of the Fajr or after the obligatory rakat of the Maghrib prayer. This status of the optional rakat was not properly understood by people, and they counted it among the rakat of the Tahajjud prayer. In this regard, the narrative which holds primary importance is the following. Abu Salama, the son of Abdul Rahman, narrated that he asked Aisha, "Describe the Prophet's prayer in the Ramadan." She replied, "Never did the Prophet pray more than 11 rakat, either in Ramadan or in any other month." Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami' al-Sahih, page 183, hadith number 1147. As per the verbal or practical corroboration of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the various ways in which this prayer was offered are the following. 1. After offering 2 rakat, the prayer should be ended with the salam, and then 1 more rakat should be offered as witr. 2. After offering the prayer in groups of 2 rakat, it should be ended with the salam, and then 5 rakat should be offered in a manner that one does qada in the last rakat only. 3. After offering the prayer in groups of 4 rakat, it should be ended with the salam, and then 3 rakat should be offered consecutively, with the qada being done only in the last rakat, and then the salam should be said. 4. After consecutively praying 2, 4, 6 or 8 rakat without the qada, which should be done in the last rakat, 1 rakat should be offered standing up after the qada without saying the salam, and then after the qada, the salam should be said. It is evident from various narratives that initially in this prayer, the Quran was at times recited loudly and at times silently. Later, the Almighty directed the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to recite it in a medium pitch. The words of the Quran are, وَلَا تَجْهَرْ بِصَلَاتِكَ وَلَا تُخَافِتْ بِهَا وَابْتَغِ بَيْنَ ذَلِكَ سَبِيلًا. And in this night prayer of yours, pray neither with too loud a voice nor in a low one, but between these 2 extremes, seek the middle course. Surah number 17, verse 110. Consequently, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also directed his companions to recite in this way. Abu Qatada narrates that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu, "When I passed by you, you were reciting the Quran in a low tone in the night prayer." He replied, I recited to him who hears even my whispers. The Prophet continued, Raise your tone a little. Then he told Umar, Radiallahu anhu, When I passed by you, you were reciting the Quran in a very loud tone. He replied, I awake those who sleep and make Satan run away. The Prophet said, Lower your tone a little. Abu Dawud, Sunan, Volume 2, page 38, Hadith number 1329. It is evident from Surah Bani Israel and Surah Muzzammil that the real time of this prayer is when one gets up at night, and for this reason it is called Tahajjud. The Quran says that this is the time when one is in the presence of the Almighty. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said, Every night the Almighty directs His attention upon our world. When one third night remains, He says, Who is there at this moment to call me so that I can respond to his call? Who is it that can ask from me so that I give him? Who is it that seeks mercy that I forgive him? Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami' As-Sahih, page 183, Hadith number 1145. However, if a person is not able to read the blessings of this prayer, he can offer this prayer before going to sleep. This inference is also evident from the verses of Surah Muzzammil, which mention a reduction of the amount of the prayer in the following words. إِنَّ رَبَّكَ يَعْلَمُ أَنَّكَ تَقُومُ أَدْنَى مِنْ ثُلُثَيِ اللَّيْلِ وَنِصْفَهُ وَثُلُثَهُ وَطَائِفَةٌ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ مَعَكَ وَاللَّهُ يُقَدِّرُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ عَلِمَ أَن لَّن تُحْصُوهُ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ فَاقْرَءُوا مَا تَيَسَّرَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ عَلِمَ أَن سَيَكُونُ مِنكُم مَّرْضَىٰ وآخرون يضربون في الأرض يبتغون من فضل الله وآخرون يقاتلون في سبيل الله فاقرؤوا ما تيسر منه. O Prophet, we had enjoined upon you to stand by night. Your Lord indeed knows that sometimes you stand 2/3 of the night, and sometimes half, and sometimes 1/3 of it, and so does a group among your companions. And God alone, keeping in regard the need of people, appoints the day and night in due measure. He knew that you would not be able to follow this routine, so He turned towards you mercifully. Recite then from this Quran and this prayer as much as you are able to. He knows that there are those among you who will be sick, and others who will be traveling to seek the bounty of God, and others who will be fighting for the cause of God. So recite then from this as much as is possible for you. Surah number 73, verse 20. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is reported to have said, Whoever among you fears that he would not be able to get up in the last part of the night should offer the witr before going to sleep. But he who is certain that he would be able to get up, he should offer this prayer in the last part of the night, because the recital of the Quran at that time is in the presence of the Almighty, and it is this which is more blessed. Muslim, Al-Jami' As-Sahih, page 306, Hadith number 1767. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ always offered this prayer alone. However, once in Ramadan, when he got up and came out from his retiring enclosure into the mosque and offered this prayer within the mosque, Muslims started to gather with the desire to pray behind him. When the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saw this, he discontinued offering this prayer, fearing that this prayer might also become obligatory for the Muslims. Urwa ibn Zubair narrates, Aisha informed him that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came out at midnight and offered the prayer in the mosque. Some people also prayed behind him there. When in the morning these people mentioned this incident, more people gathered the next day. In this night also, when he prayed in the mosque, people prayed behind him. When again in the morning people mentioned this, a large number of people gathered in the mosque the third night. In this night too, the Prophet came out and people prayed behind him. In the fourth night, the mosque was packed to capacity with people, but in that night he did not come out until it was Fajr time. He offered the Fajr prayer, and then he turned to the people and bore witness to the oneness of the Almighty and said, I was not unaware of your presence. I only feared that it might be made obligatory upon you, and then you would not be able to offer it. Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami' As-Sahih, page 322, Hadith number 2012. Until the time of Umar's rule, people generally offered this prayer alone at their houses or in the mosques, when one day he came to the mosque and saw people were praying in different groups, such that some of them were reciting individually and others behind a prayer leader. Since in this prayer the recital is loud, there was a state of indiscipline in the mosque. Umar Radhiyallahu anhu, deeming this to be a show of disrespect to the Quran, appointed Ubay ibn Ka'b Radhiyallahu anhu as the overall prayer leader. After this, when in another night he happened to chance by and saw the people praying thus, he remarked, "This new thing is good, but that which they leave because of sleep is better than this." Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami' Sahih, page 322, hadith number 2010. It is evident from this narrative that not only did Umar Radhiyallahu anhu not join the congregational prayer, but opined that if this prayer is offered at its actual time, then it earns more blessings than if it is offered before going to sleep. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, as has been mentioned earlier, never offered more than 11 rakat for this prayer. However, since the number of rakat of this prayer is not fixed, when one prayer leader was appointed to lead the people, they started to pray 23 rakat and even more in Ramadan and called it Taraweeh. Ever since that time, Muslims have generally been offering the Taraweeh prayer in this manner, and most of them are unaware of the fact that it is in fact the Tahajjud prayer which they are offering with the Isha prayer. Besides these optional prayers, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has regarded 2 rakat after wudu as a means of earning great blessing and reward. Narratives also mention that he would offer 2 rakat after returning from a journey. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has also asked Muslims to offer 2 rakat and pray to the Almighty for forgiveness of sins and for istikhara. This supplication of istikhara is as follows: Allahumma inni astakhiruka bi'ilmika wa astaqdiruka biqudratik wa as'aluka min fazlika al-azim fa innaka taqdir wa la aqdir wa ta'lam wa la a'lam wa anta 'allamul ghuyub. Allahumma in kunta ta'lam anna hadha al-amra khayrun li fi dini wa ma'ashi wa aqibati amri faqdirhu li wa yassirhu li thumma barik li fi wa in kunta ta'lamu anna hadha al-amra sharrun li fi dini wa ma'ashi wa aqibati amri fasrifhu anni wasrifni anhu waqdur li al-khair haythu kan thumma ardini. O God, I seek what is better through your knowledge, and through your might I seek strength, and I beg from you your great blessings, because you have the might and I do not have the might, and you know everything and I do not know, and you have knowledge of the unseen. God, if in your knowledge the action which I intend to do is better with regard to my religion, my life, and my fate, then destine it for me, and make it easy for me, and then add blessings to it for me. And God, in your knowledge, if this action is bad for me, for my religion, for my fate, then turn it away from me, and turn me away from it. And God, whatever is better for me, ordain that for me, wherever it is, and then make me satisfied with it. Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami' Sahih, page 186, hadith number 1162.